You're welcome back. This is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis platform. And here on Newsfile, we put Ghana first. I'll skip your text messages on the second issue that we discussed. If there is time, we'll read them to the rest of the world. And joining us now, the legendary Carl Tofor, lecturer and sports journalist. And also here in the studio, Kujade Mensah, he's former columnist, Kotoko Express and sports analyst. Joining us virtually is Gary Al Smith of the Joy Sports. Gentlemen, thank you so much for making the time. And first of all, my sincere apologies for eating into the hour that we needed to have you. It is a very important discussion for the country. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Right. So let's begin this way. Where's Gary? Hello, Gary.
Okay. Good morning.
Great,
Mr. Carl.
Great.
Good morning to you, Mr. Kujade Mensah. Hi.
Morning.
Great.
Good morning.
So Gary, start for us. Why are we where we are now? We are in urgent search for a coach, and is that really the problem?
I think you want me to just lay the bare facts so that we go into the meat of the matter. So we are where we are because the Ghana Football Association, put out a statement a couple of days ago saying that they are dispensed with the services of Coach C.K. Akono as coach of the Black Stars. Tellingly, the statement did not give any official reason why they were doing so. And so I'm sure that is up for debate, and I'm sure we are going to touch on that as well.
You certainly know the reason. What are the reasons?
As far as I'm concerned, they will let go of a coach because they are not satisfied with his performance. However, I mentioned that the FA did not give an official statement because, Samson, I believe that it is important for us going forward so that if any coach right now, anywhere in the world, thought, I want to apply for the job of Black Stars coach, and let's say, I want to apply and I will not charge anything, I want to do it for free. He needs to know that if he goes down whatever it is that the GFA think was the tangent C.K. Akono went on, that they didn't like, he knows to not go on that tangent. If they announce a coach, as we expect them to do, very shortly, they would also be doing that coach a favor, because then it will be quite clear to us, the stakeholders, journalists, fans, everybody else, that this is what C.K. Akono did. And that is why he was sacked, if you get my meaning. So to answer your question briskly and concisely, because we don't have time, this is why we are where we are at the moment.
Could you...
Yeah.
The state that the Black Stars is in, is CK responsible for it?
No, I wouldn't say so. I would say it's a lack of planning. I will put it to after Ben Kofi's development plan expired, we didn't put measures in place to put back a similar plan. We could even go and copy and paste Ben Kofi's plan again. That was his plan started out, if I recall, in 2006. 2001, 5-year development plan, 2001 to 2006. That plan is what we built on to qualify us for the World Cup, AFCON, get to the AFCON final, 2010 World Cup, and then it started tapering off. The effect of it started tapering off. By 2008, we should have had another plan in place that we would follow strictly. We didn't do that. And we are where we are. What do we do now? We look for boys who are in the diaspora. We bring them together, put them together 3 days, 4 days. We expect them to deliver. No, it can't happen.
So typical Frefre Kobo thing.
It is a Frefre Kobo because we have players who meet their colleagues, your teammates, for the first time at the Black Star camp. How is that possible? But we all, with nostalgia, mention the Appiahs, the Asians, Suleiman Tari, Pencil, Olele. We mention them with nostalgia. But these guys started playing way back in their youth. They were not meeting each other for the first time at the Black Star camp. So let's not, the coaches are very easy prey. They are the soft targets. We can always blame the coach and get away with it. But let's be frank with ourselves. We haven't planned.
But it's possible to say that the last recent performances show that CK is not up to the task?
Not necessarily. What are we saying? Look, the performance has not been good, agreed. But what are the results? We have qualified for AFCON, right? We have qualified for AFCON. Come to the World Cup qualifiers. How many games have we played? 2. Won 1, lost 1 away to South Africa. South Africa is not such a useless team either. It's not a disaster. So, I mean, it's always easy to blame the coach. But
let's take it from here. Are you proud of the first game we claim we won? How did we win it? That's what I mean.
It was a fluke, wasn't it? I mean, if the roles had been reversed and that had been the Ghanaian goalkeeper who had allowed that shot in from, 35, 40 yards, the poor guy would have been crucified by now, no doubt. Having said that, I've heard Kojo and I've heard Gary, and you asked Gary a question, he still didn't answer it because we don't know. He's saying that if a new coach comes in, will he be satisfied with what Charles faced and then was let out? You see, the truth of the matter is this. We all know that there is some level of, in quotation marks, please, interference in the selection of players for the national team. Because it's on record, ironically from your radio station, that the FA president used certain words, that the times when coaches were solely responsible, it's gone. However, that is for the squad. In picking the team, it's the coach's prerogative. And for me, I always state that if the coach is always ready to accept the praise when the team wins and does well, then I think the coach must also carry the can when it goes badly.
I agree.
But it's not a case of just dismissing the coach without looking at the other extenuating circumstances. One, and the key and most important one, are your players up to the task? In my estimation, the answer is no. Because you're now picking players who are playing in either the second or third divisions in Europe. What about the chap who's playing here consistently and regularly? That becomes a bit of a chore. Now, if somebody is not playing regularly in Europe, and even if he's in the elite league and is sitting on the bench, does that warrant him or she? I can understand 1 or 2, maybe based on previous performances. But not when there's a whole bunch of people. And that is a worry. And take it from me, Charles Akuna was given a target: win the Nations Cup and then qualify for the World Cup. Any coach, be it foreign, where people are now screaming and ranting and raving, be it foreign, will find it difficult to even achieve the first, let alone the second, with the current crop of players that we have. Another aspect we've got to look at it is...
I'm getting confused.
Okay.
That you are saying it comes down to how we organize and the capacity of the players.
Absolutely. The key...
Then you come to say the coach equally is responsible.
No, because if the coach gets up and makes a statement, when you've won, I saw the problem, so I did this and I did this. Then for crying out loud, carry the can. But in the case of Charles, and I'm not here to defend him, because he should face the same music, I never ever heard him at the news conference, even when we won, gloating and saying, I did this. I'll be fair to him. I never heard him, unlike some of the previous coaches. But for me, it is a case of players not up to the task, coaches not being up to the task, but more importantly, the one set of people we tend not to touch, which is a running theme.
Is the FA.
It's the FA.
Yeah.
Okay, it's the FA.
It's true.
And then we've also got to factor in government. You get up and you remove Charles Akuna. What happens now? He had a 2-year contract. Who's going to pay for it? The rest of it?
Government.
Can somebody not argue that? Is that not causing financial loss to the team? Because when you bring in a new coach...
But you make the assessment. The contract is not in perpetuity. It has a time limit, but that does not also mean a guarantee for you to exhaust the term of the contract. Are
you aware that when you sign a contract within the football family and football circles, if you abrogate it, that is, the FA abrogates it, or the club abrogates it, you pay him the rest of his whatnot.
Yes.
And if the coach abrogates it, he pays.
It's a good term for any good contract. I'll bring in Gary, but could you? So what are you saying? You just mentioned the
planning,
the association.
Yeah.
How are they culpable in this?
Oh, you know, in anything we do, you have to look at the management of any organization. Take the FA or the whole structure as an organization. And if it's not working, I mean, from where I sit in my day job, if something is not working, people are going to point out to me and say, look, the CEO has to take some flack for this as well. But somehow, as a country, the constant we always change is the coach. We never seem to ever change the FA when things are not going right.
Because the FA doesn't play ball.
No, but
the FA is the one that put the policy in place.
But they manage and they put policy and implement. Look, when we qualified for 06, and I've had opportunity to say this, in Nyantechi's time, we had the most unified FA, or the most unified group of stakeholders I had ever seen, probably in my entire life. The FA, the ministry, you know, sponsors, the fans, journalists, we were all together. It doesn't look like we've managed to build that kind of unity.
How is that a factor of what we see?
It is a serious factor because there are divisions, and there's backbiting, and there are accusations, there's finger pointing. When that is happening, everybody wants to say, I told you so.
Biting is no football leg.
Samson
doesn't kick a ball.
Samson.
Yeah, it does.
Samson.
It does psychologically, Samson. It does.
Please, are you telling me that if there's no uniformity within your law firm, it would not suffer structural damage? Are you telling me that if there's no uniformity within an industrial complex, the Barclays banks, I'm sorry for mentioning names, data banks and whatnot? Listen, you know that more than I do as a lawyer. The crux of the matter is that there is no uniformity in the FA as we speak. You have various factions going around at various radio stations fighting. And I'm talking about the wider, not the five who are running the day-to-day whatnot. The whole football structure where the clubs are represented. They're fighting among themselves.
Gary, from what I have heard so far, where does CK come in this?
Well, I think that Kojo Adamensa said that, I don't remember the word he used. I think he said he basically tried to say that CK has become the scapegoat, or, you know, it's always the FA that is the constant, but the coaches always keep going when we know what the structural issues are. So CK comes in because he is unable to look at all these factors that have been eloquently put together by Mr. Tufo and Mr. Adamensa and withstand them. Which is why, and I would jump the gun and come back. I personally have said in the past 2 weeks that based on everything that has been said right now, I don't think there is a local coach in Ghana right now. Please note, I'm not saying that we don't have a coach on this soil now who can tactically lead us to the Africa Cup of Nations to a fantastic performance or even qualify us to the World Cup. I am saying there is no Ghanaian coach on this soil right now who, based on the factors that have been so eloquently put by Mr. Tufo and Mr. Adamensa, has the shoulder, the broad shoulder, to say no when required and to tell people to stand in their place, or, as Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo said a couple of days ago on Joy FM, to take a pen and resign because he is being faced with interference. So that is where CK comes in. And that is why I asked, even though I knew that tactically he may not be such a bad coach, but because of all these factors that were not inuring, I mean, I'm talking about psychologically, the fact that even in the back room there is no uniformity. There is the fact that the people who hired CK Akono did not trust him even at the time he was given the job.
Explain. What do you mean by lack of uniformity at the back room and the employers don't trust the employee? What do you mean by that?
Mr. Tufo mentioned an interview Keto Kraku granted on Joy FM, where he mentioned in that interview that, the time where Black Stars coaches will put forward their squad and nobody will talk about it is over. It was in April, on April 10. I did an interview. In preparing for that interview, I'll give you an idea into why I asked the questions I did. In my research and in my asking questions before preparing for that interview, I was told not once, not twice, not 3 times that Siki Akono was not the first choice for the GFA. And I think that Mr. Kojo Adamensa and Mr. Kaltupo will tell you this for free. They don't charge you any consultancy. So how are you going to work as Siki Akono with a glad heart, without feeling pressure, without feeling that your people have your back, when the people who are superintending your work on a day-to-day basis don't even trust you? Which brings to bear a problem we have had from independence. Now, because we don't have time, I'm just keeping everything concise. But in 2 minutes, I'll explain something. Mr. Kojo Adamensa mentioned that in 2006, it seemed that all the parts of the wheel, all the cogs of the wheel worked in harmony, and we had the best, is what I have seen, the best I have seen in my lifetime as well. So what does he mean? The sports minister was here, Osafo Mapo at the time, I believe.
Yes, it was.
You had the GFA president who had just come, Abafresh, Kwesi Nyantechi.
Yeah.
He knew that the entire system was against him because of the ageist society that we are in. Oh, he's a small boy. So he was doing everything possible to ensure that it works. So even when, the usual bureaucracy and things came in, he made concessions just to ensure that we got what was right. Sponsorship was at the best time. We had companies like Goldfields and others who trusted in the vision and came together and made monies available. However, there is something that we probably are forgetting. We were in a kind of situation that we found ourselves in the post-ANAS era, where Keto Kraku's administration had a fantastic opportunity to do same. We had come from the old GFA chairman, so remember, Kwesi Nyantechi had become the first president of the GFA. So it was a new time, it was a new era. There were a lot of people who were willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, including all the other stakeholders. In the same vein, Keto Kraku had a lot of goodwill even 1 year ago. But other things that will waste our time if we talked about came into play, and it has eroded that goodwill. In 2006, all these factions sang with one tune. Crucially, the fan base of the Black Stars, the people of Ghana, also bought into that new, Kwesi Nyantechi has come fresh. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. And so they gave him room to operate. Let's come down to Keto Kraku's administration. He and his administration were given a lot of room to operate. It was with deep regret that I have to say right now, and I was thinking about it this week, that the Keto Kraku administration have lost a fantastic opportunity. They've lost so much goodwill through factors that are mostly caused by themselves, but also exigent factors. So that is where, yes.
Interesting. Now, Gary says something, Kojo. How do you, the employer, employ someone who is not your first choice? I don't understand that. Tell me, you guys in the sports industry, what exactly is going on?
This is because...
And are you saying the campaign is a lost cause because a new coach will not bring any difference?
No, it's not a lost cause. But let me tell you, let me answer the first part, as in why you employ somebody who is not your first choice. This is because the FA is not the one who pays the coach. That is the bottom line. The FA do not pay the coach. So there's another entity somewhere that actually pays the coach.
Which entity is the state?
It's the state. So whether you like it or not, you need state consent for whoever you employ and the amount, because the state will have a budget beyond which they will not be willing to go to pay the coach.
Is it a question of the budget, or is a question of I have a first choice, but the state has an interest in the second choice?
No, the state did not have, as far as we know, the state wanted a Ghanaian coach. The president, in his run-up to being elected, had a mantra of, I believe in Ghana. It would have been counterintuitive, or it would have been contrary to that mantra for him to support the hiring of a foreign coach. So he insisted, when the FA said Kwesi Appiah, they wouldn't be able to work with Kwesi Appiah, he said, oh, well and good. I would prefer you kept Kwesi Appiah because he's Ghanaian, he's done it before, we know what he's about, but not a foreign coach. He made it clear the FA's first choice would have been to hire a foreign coach. We all know that. They'll say what's the evidence, but it is true. So they had to get the next best thing. That is how come we got the next best thing. That is to answer the question. But it's not a lost cause. I mean, we have what, 6 more games to go. We've played 2. Yeah. 6 to go. So it can't be a lost cause.
What role would a new coach play?
4 to go.
What role will a new coach play to change anything now that you are back to doing the mathematics and hoping and praying that somebody loses and so?
We have to win all our games. It's a very simple, there's no formula to this. We have to win all our games and not depend on any.
And what magic will any coach do? And we hear Milovan is likely to get it, right?
Let's get a few things here.
Okay.
Already, in response to what Kojo said, that who would take a second choice if this is your first choice? Well, it's going to happen again now.
Yeah.
Again?
Yeah, it's going to happen again now. Okay.
Why? So we are not learning anything?
Because the first choice was René Hava, the guy who was the assistant coach to Claude Leroy when he was in charge of the Black Stars between 2006 and 2008. And when Leroy left, he followed him. The guy who took Zambia to the trophy, the guy who took the Ivory Coast to the trophy. The man is now in Saudi. He has made it known that he's not going to abrogate his Saudi contract because they are almost on the verge of qualifying for the World Cup. So already that answers your question, your first choice. Then there's also the other theory of the fact that you don't always get your first choice.
So your first choice is not available in this case. That's what you mean.
Then even if your first choice is available, then the question comes to your budget. You, Samson Ladi Ayeni, the human rights lawyer, the lawyer that stands up and we all watch and love you, would throw a tantrum if this GFA and the government were there to, let's say, acquiesce to René Havard's contract. I'm driving at something. Somebody's asking for 100,000. How the heck will you support $100,000 a month in this country? A country that is supposed to be, you would lead a campaign against it. So you will go for your second choice. If your second choice doesn't fit in within your budget, then you go for the first choice. Because a budget has already been read for 2021. The review has already been set for 2021. Are you now going to take somebody who is going to take you even 45,000 a month? Where will that money come from? Where is the government going to get that money from? Granted that if the government agrees to such a thing. Then there's the mantra of the local coach, made in Ghana. So you've got all manner of these things in there. And then the likes of Carl Tufo within the media, who is adamant that as for the Black Star coaching job, it should be a Ghanaian and nobody else. Because I look at other countries and I see it in Brazil, England, and I see it in Argentina, and I see it in Germany, and I see it in Italy. With all due respect. So if we say the Ghanaian is not good, Samson, the last statement.
You have been told that this is being emotional, and there's nothing emotional about this. The local coaches are not helping.
The local coaches are not helping. With all due respect, Samson, since 1957 we got independence. Where have we got as a country? So therefore our politicians are not helping. So the logic is what? Go bring back the Brits, right? Is that what you're telling me? Thank you.
I agree with that. I mean, we have made certain rules the preserve of Ghanaians in this country. Parliamentarians, you have to be Ghanaian. If you are even a dual citizen, you have to go and, dual citizen, even. Where you have both allegiance, you have to go. The presidency, no matter how competent or incompetent a president is, when we kick one president out, Ghanaian, who do we replace with? Ghanaian. Why is the
so you also belong to this?
I belong to that camp, totally. But the local coaches
today, I want in the course of the week, who is it that said you guys are being emotional?
No, there's no emotional.
And that it is not about a black.
No, Samson, no.
Being emotional is all right.
No. Listen, I agree. The local coaches too don't help themselves. While they are playing, if they are interested in the job, in being a coach, do your coaching badges. Some of them will wait, blow the money, spend it on cars and cars.
When you hire them, you don't pay them.
What?
No, but if I'm hiring a UEFA B against a UEFA Pro, who earns more? The UEFA Pro.
No, even the little, you don't pay them until they are going, and you have mounting
the arrears
salaries.
Something got a point when you get to the fact that for 6 months, I hear he's been paid for the first 2 months.
Yeah. Even Duncan is owed more.
So for 6 months,
Duncan is owed more.
as the fancy one say, won't you call?
Yeah.
Duncan and that's what I'm trying to tell you. It falls within the budget. Because even the meager 25,000 a month, you haven't paid for 6 months, 150,000. You think it's easy? But you see, if you have this policy that you are going to get up and bring your coaches up to speed,
yes,
Ghanaian coaches up to speed,
yes,
and let them keep on whatnot.
Yes,
we abandoned it.
One day we'll get it right.
We abandoned it during CK Jamfi's time. CK Jamfi started this whole, Kwame Nkrumah started this whole business, got rid of all those foreign guys and brought in CK. He persevered with them. Guess what? After all the poor 1960, 61, 62, he got it right in 63. 4 years in the job. Right?
We'll get you.
Gary,
Carl, I agree.
Can I come in now?
Has the deed been executed, and how much of our success is dependent on the new coach?
I have loved the trajectory of the discussion so far because, it segues nicely into the future. Now, we did persevere with CK Jamfi. He failed. We gave him the opportunity. However, as historically astute as the two gentlemen in the studio are, they will tell you that even while he was failing, his capacity was being built. Kwame Nkrumah, I was privileged to speak to and interview CK Jamfi before he passed. Kwame Nkrumah took him literally to the ends of the earth, something. To the ends of the earth here in Ohinijan to train him to become among the best in the world. I need to emphasize that. Now, let's speed quickly to this era, okay? When Kurt Okraku was campaigning as GFA president, and something, this is instructive because it tells you the mindset of our current administration, indeed, of those who will be honest in the football fraternity. Guess what Kurt Okraku said? He said, if elected as president, the winner of the Ghana Premier League, the coach of the winning team of the Ghana Premier League, if he is Ghanaian, the coach of the winning team of the Ghana Women's Premier League and of the Division 1 will be taken for attachments outside the country. Let me repeat. He said, the winner of the Ghana Premier League, so as it is right now, the winning coach is Samuel Boedu. If the FA are able to execute, the winning coach of Division 1 and the winning coach of the Women's Premier League, that's Hazakes Ladies, Yusuf Basigi. The FA, per Kurt Okraku's promise, are supposed to take them on attachment. Now, why would an FA president campaign on such an election material or an election promise? It is a tacit admission from our FA president, even before he became president, that the Ghanaian coach right now, even the best Ghanaian coach right now, is not up to speed when it comes to the African terrain. Now, if we really want the job to be the preserve of Ghanaians, let us respect the Ghanaian professional by giving them the pro license, which is the highest right now. Yeah. Please, let's not talk, the UEFA, the CAF pro license version is absolute. Mr. Kaltufa, please give me the fancy. I like
rubbish. Rubbish.
The CAF versions that our coaches are getting day in, day out are a no-no. Let me give you an example. Richard Kinson does not have his coaching badges, but at the CAF level, because he's an ex-professional, they have something called the fast track for him to go onto the UEFA A on the CAF license D. In UEFA, you wouldn't dare. You would not dare. Look, even in UEFA, when you are going for the pro license or the license A, Samson, no matter who you are, when you go for the course and you miss even one day of the course, you know what happens, Samson? You will start the course all over again.
Yes, that's true.
And pay.
That's true.
Interesting.
That is UEFA.
Interesting. So
the people are not kidding. So look, let me just finish by saying I am all for the Ghanaian. Look, as a Ghanaian growing in my profession and looking to make inroads on the international scene, I totally agree that Ghanaians must be given the opportunity. But I am not going to say Ghanaians should be given the opportunity when I know that when they are given the opportunity, the entire system connives not to help them give us the best.
But it is not going to be a Ghanaian, and you started with your first statement that there is none who compares with CK. Did I get it right?
He said there's none who can stand up to the establishment.
Who can stand up to the influences, which unfortunately will not end anytime soon because of the factors listed, especially by Mr.
But Gary, I don't agree with you.
Are there prospects for a local coach now?
Yes.
Oh yes, on that I agree. I mean, you know, it can be a bit. I think that there's a gentleman called Prosper Nate Ogum who is going to be named imminently as coach of Asante Kotoko pretty shortly. There is Samuel Boedu, who has shown in his past 2 jobs, including the current one, that, look, given even 1 year of an intensive UEFA Pro license course, I see Samuel Boedu hitting the stratosphere.
You're talking about people who must be prepared. Yes, Carl, how, as we end, whoever we pick, what do we need to do to change the narrative?
Well, first thing, stop, and it's looking more like a foreigner, yeah? Stop trying to tell him who to pick. And if it's the foreigner, which is what Gary alluded to, he's not going to take any rubbish from you. That's why even Mariano Barreto, who was a disaster for Kotoko this year, when he was coaching, he would lock his door so that Iti Mensah cannot come in. So clear.
Really?
Absolutely. Back in 2000, yes. So that he would not dare walk into the dressing room. I'm coming to speak to jab the voice. 2, the FA have got to make it their priority that whatever it takes to get us to the World Cup and to win the Nations Cup, they'll move the lens. And third and last, but certainly not the least, is the government itself has got to look again and say, are we investing in the future by then deciding that, look, okay, we are not going to take any $25,000 coach, with all due respect, maybe we'll go after $50,000.
So I suppose you agree with this, but since it's not limited to the coach, but the players, that you agree that this is Fefre Kobo, which is not helpful, what should be done?
Okay, we need to write out a plan, not have a plan in our head. We need to write out a plan, document it, and follow it regimentally. Look, let me be controversial. There is nothing wrong if Ghana doesn't qualify for Qatar 2022.
I agree.
There is nothing wrong, and we focus even on winning the AFCON rather. Italy didn't qualify for the World Cup in 2018. The country almost got burnt down. But what happened? They sat back, planned with Mancini, and what happened? They won Euro with a blend of youth and experience. They had a plan written down and regimentally executed. That's the way forward, Samson.
That's the way forward. And Gary, you had already started the way forward. What would you say finally on it? Apart from you saying we should train them, invest in them, and even in their failure, they are gaining experience. But we can't wait. We are impatient.
Samson, I would say that once again, I'd like to see clouds in silver lining in clouds. We have a great opportunity right now. We have the winner of the Ghana Premier League. If we even want, we can take the top 2 or 3 first, second, third coaches of the Ghana Premier League. Take the guy who won Division 1, the Women's Premier League. Find sponsors for them. Take them to do their UEFA badges and tell ourselves that whoever is going to be the Black Stars coach now, he should do his job. By the time whoever it is done, we are all agreeing that the next person should be Ghanaian. And we should keep on like that and like that. That is all I'll say. All
right. Dr. Charles Rekubrobe says that all of Ghana's AFCON success were achieved with local coaches.
Correct.
New colonialists at play.
I won't go too far there. The crux of the matter is that it's true. All of our successes have been with Ghanaian coaches. However, it's also true that some of our worst and nightmarish experiences have been with Ghanaian coaches.
So we take the path that you guys suggest, the holistic approach, a plan. You have to write it out. Even the Bible says so.
Yes.
I know.
Right.
The problem we have in this country is going the full haul. You start something, it seems to be moving in the right direction, and then you just sit on your left.
Right.
That's a major, major problem.
And maybe we have the money too. You were talking about 100,000 and we will be angry. Those who give you money say, every year you can't account for as much as $3 billion that is brought to your country.
But are you also aware that if a country goes quotation marks, cap in hands and begging IMFs and the World Banks, they ask you then, why are you paying 100,000 to?
All right, thank you guys so very much. And we should have started with this topic, the things I'm seeing here.
Samson, I think that you've done. Sometimes it's short and sweet.
Right.
We've all made a point.
Right.
Yeah, we've all made a point.
Right.
If we had gone further, it would just be laid up the points.
Okay, so just get ready and enjoy the Joy Sports as they begin to bring you even more on the issues that have come up as far as our Black Stars situation is concerned. Thank you very much, Carl Tufor, lecturer and sports journalist. Gary Al Smith is with Joy Sports, and Kojo Ademensa, former columnist, Kotoko Express, and sports analyst. The first time I'm meeting him face to face in the studio.
Yeah.
Always just hearing the name and hearing the voice. Thank you so much. My outfit is always provided for by Habil's Couture. Today is provided for by a regent in Gorogo, Tongo, in the Talinsi district of the Bolga, of the Upper East region. So go to Habil's Couture, particularly for the best in kaftans. I return to see good ones sitting there. I'll wear them from next week. You see them. You can contact them 0200 841 988 0200 841 988. They are at East Legon at Jiringano Gate. Thank you all so very much. I'm Samson Ladi Anyanini. Join us again next week for another interesting edition of the show. Tomorrow afternoon, 2 p.m., join me in my legal clinic as we talk about a new law coming up for interstate succession. It looks like the side chicks are going to get some benefits. Have a good afternoon.